track sequencer, but it didn't have quantiles. It didn't have like, you know what I mean? It didn't have like really a lot of features. It was really made to like MIDI up to another keyboard or machine or whatever. But it was people, it's
Right.
a community of people that get busy with the S20s. You could loop stuff. That was mainly what it was made for. Um,
Right.
but I was doing whole, doing bass lines. That's where the bass line started coming from because I would take the bass note. Like when you first cut the S20 on, it was like a test note to tell you that it works like boop. So you could take that note and like detune it, you know what I mean? And it would boop, and you would have the super DJ scratch boop 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 boop. It would sound like that. It would be, you know what I mean? But it would be that high tone. And I would it was no 16 levels or nothing like the MPC. So you had to copy each uh note and like tune it to whatever, you know what I mean, joint you
Right.
wanted to be. And it would take up memory each time you copied it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, the highest technology. But if you got it working, you was freaking it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was doing whole albums on that joint back in the day.
Um, During this time, who would you consider some of your influences that was inspiring your beats at the time?
I wrote some stuff down for this. Let me see. I should have kept the light on. A lot of influences, just from, well, hip hop, it's a zillion people. I said Special Ed before, EPMD, Run DMC, all that stuff, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, um, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like Nice and Smooth, Gangstar, um, I had more stuff. Oh, of course, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Jay Dilla later, you know what I mean? Tribe Called Quest, High Tech, beat wise, High Tech was super, you know what I mean? His beats really stood out.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and of course, there's a billion other people. Of course, in that era, it was, you know, Public Enemy, Ice-T, Ice Cube, you know what I mean?
Right.
All that, crazy. It's super crazy. I'm from Maryland, so it wasn't like, oh, they from the West Coast, they from the East. It wasn't really none of that down here. You know what I mean? It's just like people was listening to Scarface down here. If you ask anybody, there's a lot of people that Tupac their favorite, or you know what I mean, or Scarface might, if you back, especially back in like the '90s, like the old, if you talk to an OG old head now from the area, they'd be like, yep, Scarface. Because, that was the cast that was coming to DC and rocking with the Go-Go Band when they would come. You know what I mean? So people remember that. You know what I mean?
Right. What was your creative process like early on?
Creative process early on. Early on, like when I first started making beats, or like early on.
Yeah, when you first started, and then we'll talk about your creative process now. So earlier on, what was your process like? What did it consist of?
I mean, I guess you could say it was simpler then. I mean, we talked about the equipment, so I had but even with that equipment it was still lofty ideas, and you was kind of freaking the machinery to do stuff it wasn't supposed to do. Even with pause, you was definitely not supposed to be making. You're not supposed to just be clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking to the button on the
Right.
set deck like that. But that's just hip hop. Like people took turntables and made instruments out of them, and it's just that ingenuity, that young, and you just experimenting and just trying stuff out. It's like equivalent to like kids that like to tinker with stuff and open stuff up and see how it works and stuff like that. Um, and then it just develops into like, oh, I actually really like doing, I could do this for real,
Right.
Uh,
Um, what would you consider some of your earlier dues that you paid earlier on? Maybe uh, beats that you gave an artist that you didn't receive proper credit for. What kind of dues early on did you experience?
Mm. No, I mean, I guess that's just I don't know. I would call it paying it forward, or because it wasn't. I never had a lot of experiences where it was like uh ghost. I'm a ghost producer or nothing. Or yeah, actually, I never really had that. Or nothing like that. With I've had a few instances, like it's like it's funny the first single I ever put out, the Always joint, and it got the Fonte and Grap joint on the B side. Like my publishing ain't right on the record. Like when you look on the original record, for some reason my publishing ain't right. I don't. That might have something to do with Benny B or something. It might be Benny B's publishing on it. I don't know. But it ain't really. I never really. Most of the time when I work on stuff, it's disappointing when certain stuff doesn't come out. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff that you know it's super tight stuff that you might never hear. That's kind of
Right.
why. But and there's stuff that you get paid for and it still don't come out. You know what I mean? So it's strange. It's a weird world we live in. But that's just
Right.
how it works, I guess, sometimes.
Earlier on, were you pushing yourself more as an artist or a producer?
Um, well, you mean like as a rapper or as a
Right.
because this it's still an artist. Uh, um, you mean like as a vocal artist, like a
Yeah.
vocal artist, as
Right.
opposed to like just produce? Nah, I always my whole thing from the jump was all like basically after I got an MPC around like I guess 2000, 99, 2000. Um, and I really started like getting serious with the beats and really understand. Once I got a higher level of a beat machine, it was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I can really do some stuff now. Um, and the rapping was still there, but once like I was saying, like you like tinker, it's pushing buttons. You know what I mean? Like you trimming samples, chopping. You could take a record and chop it up and just like it's more it was just more fun, you know what I mean,
Right.
than writing. I got it written down here, like writing rhymes is like homework. That's why I dropped the album. That's called homework because uh writing rhymes to me is like home. It's more mental stamina involved to me with because you might have said something somebody else. You got with me, I'm real, but I'm trying to
Right.
I write something and be like, did somebody else say that? Did they say it exactly like
Right.
this? Because you say it in your head and you know what I mean with the beat, and then you might be like, hold on, that came did like you know what I mean? Pharoah Monch or somebody say that? Or
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's sometimes you get stuck on that, you know what I mean? And then but with beats, it's just like I don't know, it's just a more in the zone, making, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Bomb, as RZA would say. You know what I mean?
Right. Can you take us back to getting with Up Above Records?
Yeah, shout out to my man D Smooth. Uh shoot. I just like behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I did some stuff with the first single I did was with ABB. I did another single with Up Above Records. My man D Smooth, Daryl Powell. Um he he put together that, whole thing. Um I got in touch with I must have got in touch with Daryl through Grap. Grap was a big connector back then also. And because he did D Smooth did stuff with Grap before I was even in the game. Um and so he D Smooth is an OG on the scenes cat. He make beats, but he more business behind the scenes. He worked the Fat Beats and he worked at Up Above. He had, Up Above had a West Coast side and the East Coast side at a certain point. And D Smooth was like on the East Coast side. He's from New York. He's from the Bronx. Yo, cousin, fam. Like anybody that knows, he's super duper New York. Um, and that was my people. See, and I did the second single I ever put out was Nightfall. It was called Nightfall. It got a piano on the front, like a drawing of a piano on the front with
Hmm.
an MPC on the piano. And it's got Cy Young Odyssey on it, and I'm on it. And the B side has me and Grap Lover on it, and with power bars on the B side. And from that, we developed a relationship, uh, and it grew from there. And then I might be doing the solo out, just kind of do it
Hmm.
out to people, and they string pulled, and next thing you know, up above, cracking off. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the president of the lake, good stuff. That was the of it with up up above, right? And the visionaries, you know what I mean? Did like 2 albums with Elemento, um, Visionaries too. You know what I mean? DJ LD, shout out DJ LD. Um, and Rhapmatic, of course. And you know what I mean? It was good times. You know what I mean? That was the early day. That was like right at the end at when people got budgets, you know what I mean, to do
Right.
albums. So at the end of that era. And so I saw what it was like to get like a record deal budget and you know, all the stuff that comes with that. It was pretty cool situation. You know what I mean?
No doubt. You got a lengthy
Can you hear me?
discography.
Am I
We're not
still
going to.
here?
Can you hear me?
I think
Can you hear me?
okay. Let me turn my phone up because
Okay.
I think my Bluetooth might have cut off. Hold on a second. Okay, take my
Okay.
headphones off. I'm still here.
Okay.
Still here. Oh, you can't hear me? Am I? You still hear me in the headphones, don't you? I'm gonna turn
I
the
can hear
headphones
you.
off. All right, we should be good now.
Okay.
Hello, one. Yeah, we in again. I took the headphones off. I think my headphones ran down.
Okay. Cool. You got a lengthy discography. We can't get into all of it in under an hour, but I do want to touch on some of your classic joints. If you could take us back to creating some of these and some of great memories going into this, we'd appreciate it. If we can go back to Jay-Z's The Brown album, what do you remember most about creating that project?
Yeah, the Brown album. I did that like in about a week. That was Quartermain and PM Peter Rosenberg, Pete PMD, um, uh, really being like, yo, let's do that. You know what I mean? Because they was trying to, you know what I mean? Cass was trying to bubble up and make stuff happen, and they was just like, yo, I remember Pete had the acapellas before everybody somehow. Because he was a DJ. You know what I mean? So
Right.
back in the day, I don't know how it is now, but you would get promo copies. DJs would get crazy stuff. They would get white labels and all types of stuff. So he was in with the right people, and he got the Jay-Z acapellas early in the game. And he was like, "Yo, if we do this, you're going to be the first one, because we knew it was going to be like a zillion, like you know what I mean, a zillion joints out.
Right.
So I didn't know it was going to be as many as it was, though. It was really a zillion joints. Uh, but we did it, and I was like, all right. That's why, like, it was a lot of work because it was a lot of matching stuff with the beat and you know what I mean. So it was a challenge. It was a real challenge, and so that was cool. And I did it in about a week. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't do every song on there. I did like maybe 6 or 7 songs, and boom, boom, and put it, But then, Quartermain and Pete was right because it kind of cracked off. It was a big buzz. I remember on hip hop site, like they had, for the old heads out here, with
Right.
like hip hop site, they ran the
.com.
first, right when you go to the page, it was like they had the Jay-Z with the Kev Brown logo on the front. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
crazy.
what kind of reception did you get off that? And did it capture Jay-Z's attention?
Um, well, to answer that, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't really know if Jay. I heard that he heard it, but I don't know. But I know that give the big ups to Jay Z because they could have cease and desisted it. But I got a good buzz off of it. A lot of people that heard it, they didn't know that it wasn't like a official tissue joint. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
Like people just heard it and was like, "Oh, this is tight. This is a remix. Oh, this is rocking." You know what I mean? Like they just went with it.
Right.
Um, so a lot of people appreciated it, and especially because it was Jay Z, a lot of people wanted to hear. That's kind of like how I wanted to hear Jay Z. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to hear him on some joints. You know what I mean?
Right.
This was supposedly his last album, so you know what I mean. You wanted him to go out on some. I thought Premier and Pete Rock and you know what I mean. I thought because he had a promo up earlier that said the production list on his album, and it had like Rick Rubin, um, Premier, you know what I mean? And then somewhere along the way, the lineup changed somewhere because
Right.
Premier not even on there. But Ninth Wonder was on there, though, so that's tight. Um, but it wasn't super duper hip hop. I thought he was going to go out on some like F this. I'm gonna show y'all this super hip hop side and like back to Reasonable Doubt. You know what I mean? But anyway, Jay Z is Jay Z. So the but anyway, it did the buzz of the Brown joint. It did really good. You know what I mean?
The others that followed your Brown tape, was there any other producer that caught your attention redoing the Black album?
Not really. Nah,
Nah, they were all they were all duds to
nah,
you.
nah. I wasn't really. I feel like mine was kind of the best. I ain't gonna front. Like my joint it was rocking. It was kind of rocking. Man, you know what I mean? It's different than
that
everything
it
else.
was.
I feel